What do you do when your boss gives you a development opportunity and lays out a path for you, but provides little or no guidance about how to get there? Let's talk about building your own development plan. For the best strategies to take your career to the next level, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. Help me let the algorithm know to show my content to corporate women who want to move forward in their career with ease and grace. I'm Christina dellisanti-Miller of Full Potential Realized, and I'm a career transition coach. I worked for 20 years plus in Fortune 100 companies, coaching people at all levels, and running talent management, diversity, and leadership development functions. How that helps you is I can give you specific actions that you can take that will better your chances to move forward. I can help you install practices that will have you get the most bang for the buck. And really what this is all about is actually having more joy at work. Yes, we want success. Yes, we want to advance. But I think we want to have fun and we want to enjoy ourselves. And I think having the inside scoop helps you do that. Okay, so starting from scratch, there's somebody I'm working with on a specific problem like this. He is an engineer, he's a VP of engineering, and his boss wants him to learn a little bit more about architecture. How does he get the lay of the land? 5 steps. I'm gonna walk you through this process, and it's a lot to write down, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you a cheat sheet with the development planning process and some of the interview questions that you can use to plan your conversation. You can grab it for free at fullpotentialrealized.com/plan. I think always the first step is to get the business context. What exactly are the conditions in the business? Where does this all fit into the bigger picture? What's the competitive outlook for his company, for his industry? What is the environment doing to affect how business is working for them? What are the next challenges they're going to face, right? Like, what's the story that this development plan is fitting into? Because it has to ultimately align with that outcome for it to be useful. Second step, once he's clarified the business context and the business results this is meant to drive, he looks for people in his network or in his network's network that he can have a conversation with, because he is going to gather some data. And I think it's more fun and interesting and easier to speak to people. You can always look in LinkedIn and, Glassdoor and Indeed to find job descriptions. And that's something he can do as well, to find out what are the specific skills and attributes. And I think, to really bring it to life, having conversations with people. So who are people that he knows or people he can be introduced to? When I had Athena, I did a research project like this to find out the profile to help my women get into investment banking and technology. I did research on what were the attributes that distinguished the successful intern. And I knew a bunch of people at my firm, but I also wanted to interview people at all different firms. And so I also asked people, can you introduce me to someone? Once I interviewed them and they understood what the process was going to be like, I had a protocol, a set of questions, and I asked everybody the same questions. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And people were very gracious. And so I was able to talk to people at different levels and different firms, because people love to talk about their job and their work, and they can be gracious when they're introduced to you by someone who they know. So asking after you do an interview, do you know anybody in this role that might be willing to spend 15 minutes with me? Keep it short, sweet, and to the point, because people are busy, obviously. But everybody wants to connect, especially now when they're working from home. So third thing, once you have your list of people that you're going to reach out to, you're going to frame the conversation. Hi, I'm working on my development plan. I'm looking to broaden my experience in the area of architecture. I know that you work in this area. Might you be willing to spend 15 minutes with me? I just want to ask you a few questions so that I can help frame the results I'm meant to produce, the skills and knowledge and abilities that will help me do that, and the attributes that distinguish the successful architect in this case. Okay, so you set up those appointments, you have your questions ready, and those are the buckets of questions really. What are the results that a person who's great at this role produces? How does that impact the company? What's the difference between you have somebody great in this role and what are the results that somebody who's just okay produces? Then the second bucket is about what are the knowledge, experiences, and skills that really help a person like this become successful. and how do they come into play? So people may tell stories, tell me about a person that, had a really important impact on their organization using whatever, in this case, architecture, what happened, or tell me somebody who was a terrible architect and what went wrong. Obviously don't give me the name, but when people think of specific examples and they tell stories, you can get interesting nuances that they won't necessarily pull up if you just ask them what are the skills and abilities for this particular area of expertise. Another thing that I think is important, besides the results and the skills and experience, it's also what are the important ways of being. I don't think we talk enough about being. We talk a lot about doing, and being, I think, is key. And so back to my interviews, when I did the investment banking profile, a lot of that had to do with ways of being confident, being a great relationship, person who's a connector. And then I think the fourth bucket is, what do you recommend in terms of learning, in terms of experiences, in terms of courses, in terms of books, what's out there, YouTube, whatever. How does this person recommend, if you're getting up to speed in that area, what are the really salient learning experiences that they would put forth as ones that really make a difference? Okay, so you've got your business context, you've got your people, you got your protocol, you go and interview your people. Now you come back and synthesize all that information and you come up with a plan. I think the next step is to go back to your manager and say, here's what I've done, here's what I've learned, here's a proposed plan. Does this line up with what your thoughts are? What's missing? What really works for you? What suggestions do you have? What do you think? You can also do that with your mentor. You can do that with your sponsor. But I think, showing your work and just checking in before you start to execute the plan to make sure that you're right on target. I would also at this point negotiate. I am going to be looking to implement these new skills. Can you give me feedback? Can we have a small project that I can test once I have a little bit more confidence and I have a little bit more experience? Where are we going to plug this into the workplace? So crafting that up front so that you're partnering on, while you're going to go ahead and get the skills, knowledge, and experience, this manager is going to be helping you to be successful in that area. So I'm curious, did you ever have to do your own development plan? What did you find out that was most effective for you? Please let us know in the comments. Driving your own development is one way to take your career to the next level. If you'd like my 8-step process, my proven system for optimizing your career, optimizing your experience in your career, you can grab that at fullpotentialrealized.com/advance. Let me know what you think. So I'm going to leave you a playlist with additional tips, tricks, and tactics for optimizing your career, your experience, and your trajectory. And please like this video, give it a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thanks. I look forward to seeing you next time.